Whatever you can forget cannot be the eternal. Is it possible to tell me what to do step by step to come closer to realization? Why does one have to do any practice, and for what purpose? Is no practice to be done then? You remain confused so long as you are identified with your body. Even your question, what is to be done, is only from the point of view of your association with the body. As an individual concerned with the body, what am I to do? That really is your question. So long as you remain identified with the body, your confusion will continue. Yes, intellectually it is clear, but when a realized person says that everybody is realized already, it would mean I am realized, but I don't feel like it. The person who says I don't feel like it is again identified with the body. So I am unable to express whatever I feel. Is it not something which is there and which you use? Without this consciousness, you would not be able to think or do anything. So that which you are using is already there. There is no other practice to be done, except to understand, that is, telling yourself with conviction that it is this knowledge that you are, which is itself the knowledge, and not the way you are using this knowledge at the individual level. So the knowledge itself is the one that exists, and must remain pure in and as that knowledge, and you must remain apart from it. That knowledge that you are has mistakenly identified itself with the body, and so you are thinking of yourself as the body. But you are the knowledge. Strengthen your conviction that you are the knowledge, this beingness, and not the body. How can one do so? By meditation, like dhyana. And dhyana means the knowledge must remain in meditation with the knowledge. Now, what is meditation? Meditation is the knowledge I am, remaining in that knowledge. There is the waking state and the sleep state and the knowledge that you are. I exist. I know that I exist. Other than that, what capital does anyone have than merely this knowledge I am? I see it as being important because everything else is changing. What can you base your questions on? The only thing that you have is the knowledge that you exist. Other than that, what knowledge do you have? No knowledge, no other knowledge. Therefore, be in that. And don't presume that you are someone to act. That is all you can do at this stage, and remain in that. All questions really come via your mind and the body, from which you have to be separate. This is the total message. Remain in that. If you can accept this message, you may come here because you will repeatedly hear the same thing. But if it is not acceptable to you, then don't waste your time. In the spiritual line, what work have you done? Have you read anything, done anything, been anywhere? Yes, in 1960 I became interested. At that time I met Swami Menon and went to his lectures. I go to Rama Ashram frequently because there Maharaj's book was given to me by Sri Ganasan. You read Ramana Maharshi and both volumes of I Am That? All the time, Ramana Maharshi's books and Maharaj's. What has been said in Ramana Maharshi's books and what has been said in Maharaj's books? Does it tally? Absolutely. Ramana Maharshi is somewhat distant and gets you a little scared. Maharaj is tweaking your nose and talking and easier to absorb. You have a clear picture then of your true nature, of what you are? In words, yes. Even if you accept it in words, that is already a lot. Who is it that accepts what has been said in the words? Now that which accepts what has been said in the words is the principle, not separate from the words. I'm still a person with a memory. I hope to progress beyond that. What makes you consider yourself as a person? Your identification with the body. Will this individual personality last? It will remain only so long as the identification with the body remains. But once there is a firm conviction that you are not the body, then that individuality is lost. It is the simplest thing. As soon as you have this conviction that you are not the body, then automatically and instantaneously, you become the total manifest. As soon as you leave your individuality, you become the manifest totality. But your true being is apart from even that which is totally manifest. And you assume this individuality within that total manifest so long as you are identified with the body. When there is no individuality, what will you consider to be the one who meditates and the meditation? When this individuality is not there, who meditates on what? People talk very freely of meditation, but what do they really do? They use their consciousness to concentrate on something. Dhyana is when this knowledge, this consciousness that I am, meditates on itself and not on something other than itself. On itself, knowledge has no form in any case. So that is when the I am turns in on itself. It again gets qualified with form because that is the way I am to myself now. When you say you must sit for meditation, the first thing to be done is understand that it is not this body identification that is sitting for meditation, but this knowledge I am, this consciousness, which is sitting in meditation and is meditating on itself. When this is firmly understood, then it becomes easy. When this consciousness, this conscious presence, merges in itself, the state of samadhi ensues. When this mana, buddhi, chitta, or whatever names are being used, merges in that state, then even the knowledge I am meditating gets lost. And this also becomes merged in that state. It is the conceptual feeling that I exist and disappears and merges into the beingness itself. So this conscious presence also gets merged into that knowledge, that beingness. That is samadhi. That knowledge unfolds itself and begins to have the knowledge of everything movable and immovable. And that knowledge begins to know itself. And ultimately, what happens? The conscious presence alone remains. That is, there is just conscious presence, not I or you or anything. I repeat, it is total presence. That is total manifestation, not I, you, or any individual. This consciousness, which is within the body and therefore has mistakenly assumed that it is the body, gradually realizes its true nature, namely that it is only conscious presence, without any inherent individual aspects. Finally, it considers itself the conscious presence of the total manifestation, and all individuality is lost. Thus, what starts as selfishness, in the individual sense as identification with the individual, ultimately becomes knowledge of the self as a conscious presence. Have you any comment on this? When you ask questions, ask them on the basis that you are not the body-mind, but that you are the conscious presence. It seems that Maharaj is describing two aspects of meditation on the beyond. First is this concentration, consciousness turning in on itself, the sense I am. And then from that standpoint, only then can the conscious being observe with what it has identified itself and free itself from all identification. The only thing that I come up against occasionally is that during the course of meditation, some very powerful forces get released in the body and try to shake it sometimes. And at other times there are visions or psychic experiences. All one has to do during such times, what I understand from Maharaj, is to hold the sense I am and try to observe what is happening, even though it can tend to distract one very strongly from this sense of presence. That is true, except understand that you are not actually doing the witnessing of whatever happens, sitting in the morning, or the visions that come to you. Merely look at them, but understand that you are not looking at them. There is no you. As an entity witnessing them, witnessing takes place by itself. So just be in your meditation, and witnessing takes place of whatever there is to be witnessed. And don't even involve yourself in the witnessing. There is daylight outside. Well, we see it. We don't have to make it a statement. I am seeing the daylight there. So we are not witnessing. Witnessing takes place automatically. One of the interesting things happening in America in the last few years has been the tremendous importance attached to giving people body massages and things like that to kind of artificially free up the flow of this life force through the body. I feel this is purely a mechanical thing. And sooner or later, the old stuff comes back again. But if we open ourselves in the way that Maharaj instructs us, you can just naturally feel all these little areas of contraction and the body melding away. And it seems to me this is one minor but still important reason for the spiritual aspect which he is presenting to us. Interpreter: he presently does not have enough strength to talk about that. When people refer to devotion, they devote themselves to God, but it is actually devotion to the vital force. All these yogis, what they are doing is they are devoting their time to the vital force. Does he mean by that the play of the vital force through the whole chakra system? And that they do all these exercises to manipulate the spine, to elicit various effects? The most important thing is the vital force. Whatever names are given for doing all the spiritual practices, ultimately, these efforts apply to the vital force only. Because without that, there is no existence at all. There is no consciousness. So the vital force is the most important. Whenever the vital force is there, the I consciousness, the knowledge I am, is there. And then there are the four kinds of speech. Para and Pashyanti refer to existence. And all the activities happen through Madhyama and Vaikari. Madhyama means the mind, and Vaikari is the speech as expressed, the words that ultimately come out through the mouth. People are directed to other things, but nobody tells them about the birth principle, sattva. That birth principle contains everything. All these four kinds of speech and everything else are contained in it. Not only that, the whole universe, everything that appears, is contained in the birth principle. This is the reason so much stress is placed in finding out what it is. Few people give attention to the birth principle because they don't realize its importance. Because of the birth principle, everything is. The world is. All the knowledge of the world is contained in it. Only 1 in a crore, 10 million persons can find out what the birth principle is. And once you know it, everything, all knowledge belongs to you. Even liberation is yours. Then there is the 9-month period in the womb. So what is the content of the womb? It is this knowledge, I am, in dormant condition. That is being developed slowly. So within that birth principle, everything is contained. Interpreter: To people who criticize a lot but don't know anything, or somebody who claims to know too much, Maharaj jokingly says, "You have not come out of the womb too fast." So everything, all knowledge is contained in the womb, he says. He has found certain changes take place in his body, something extraordinary. For example, when you examine his pulse, some kind of inner strength is sensed. How do all these things appear? He says that the disease is for the birth principle, whereas he, being the witness of the birth principle, is unaffected, because he has no birth. There is also no possibility of death, so he just witnesses all these things. He has passed all that on to the birth principle. He says, being the knower of it. Thus, the disease applies to the birth principle only. It has appeared, and ultimately, what the disease can do is to extinguish that birth principle. But I am not that, he says, therefore, he is unconcerned with it. Recognize what he is. In order to recognize him, you have to follow his method. He told you that your consciousness is God. Now, once you understand that you are not the body, but the consciousness, then you get stabilized or established in God's womb. When you go there, you can know what he is. Until then, you don't. That is why he says, so many people have come and gone, but nobody has recognized him correctly. They have come here and have frequent meetings, and then they say that they follow him. Ultimately, they will come to know that they are the Brahman. But still, they don't know me, he says. The knower of Brahman, they don't know. You are still within the realm of consciousness. You are to transcend consciousness to know him. The effect of the disease will be that the memory of the birth will disappear. I am not affected, he says. As long as that remnant ink is available, there is a recording done. That applies to the causal body also. When the ink gets dried up, that causal body is also out of questions. He says some people have come to him who have realized, no doubt about it, they are jnanis, but not Brahma jnanis. They have stabilized in the consciousness. They have understood the Godhead, that they are God, but could not transcend it. Bra means world, and aham means I am. So, world together with I am the world, that is Brahman. For 42 years he has talked so much that he does not like to talk much now. Although people listen to him, they don't get rid of all their concepts. Therefore they remain ensnared within their concepts. In order to really understand what he says, you have to worship that prana, the vital force. That meditation is necessary. Your consciousness is getting disturbed in you. Don't drag on till it's succinctly. But you, as consciousness, should not get disturbed, because it cannot be touched by any conclusion outside, because that conclusion is not consciousness. Let us suppose that you have a big bank balance, and something happens elsewhere. Your balance is not suddenly in debt, is it? Similarly, your consciousness cannot be disturbed by any disturbances. So this means that I have not this consciousness? I believe I have this consciousness, but I don't have this consciousness. That I itself is the consciousness. It is not a question of I am that consciousness. I itself is the consciousness. Only you are not to say that word I. Without any doubt whatsoever, you are. That you are itself is the consciousness. I have a consciousness, but I must be the consciousness, probably. This is a very subtle point now. In the morning you wake up, you know you woke up. You know the waking state now. That you, who knows the waking state, should be prior to the waking state, should it not? Yes. Now the moment you woke up or you observed the waking state, you clung to the world as I am the body. This whole subtle thing must be understood. The principle which distinguishes or recognizes the waking state, that is the godly state. I know I woke up, clinging to the body. That is the bodily state, the individual state, which is a downfall into a grosser state, because a Jiva Atman is grosser than the Paramatman, clinging to the body-mind as I am in the waking state. For newcomers, I am not going to repeat my lessons again and again. You must be alert and listen to the talks with perfect attention, and then practice them. For my own sake, my mind inclinations have almost come to a stop. There is no mind collaboration for me. Now, for the sake of the public, why should I provoke my mind to expound? It is different when you understand what I am saying. And I keep repeating, not everyone will understand me. If and when you understand, you will have to come so close to me that you will realize that all this is a complete illusion. That whatever it is, because of which you see things, is itself an illusion. Then you will throw up your hands and give up everything, since you are convinced that it is all unreal. What is happening now is that whatever is seen is considered as something concrete and existing, and man wants to enlarge on it. Whatever he has inherited, he considers that that is something solid and worth having, and he wants to increase whatever his acquisitions are, whereas the truth is that he himself is an object, and whatever he thinks and acts on is itself an illusion. Therefore, whatever he acquires is bound to be an illusion. So man's whole view of seeing things must change radically, and only then will he understand what the truth is. This consciousness itself is the source of all mischief, because once you start having this consciousness, then that is the seed of wanting everything, having more and more wants, the insidious seed of mischief in the consciousness itself, and that is to be understood. About hearsay, people keep saying things about reincarnation, any number of births, but even the jnani, is he aware of even a single birth? That there should be talk of more than one birth? There will not be a single jnani who can record his first birth. The concept I am is the primordial Maya, and that Maya, that primordial concept I am, requires support, and therefore God and Ishvara have been born. Along with that, the whole manifestation, the entire universe, has come upon it. Otherwise, there is absolutely nothing, and out of many jnanis there will only be a rare one who knows the real nature of this primary concept. Interpreter. He says he has absolutely no need, no want of any kind left. He has not got the desire that you all should come here and listen to him. It is nothing. He is the Absolute, and in that Absolute he wants nothing. He needs nothing. And you will have whatever you will have. It is only an entertainment for your concepts. Whenever you come here, there are various concepts within you that will entertain you. But more than that, perhaps you will not understand all that is being said. To look at him, he is an ordinary man, an ordinary body. But there has been publicity all around the world that he is a great philosopher. Therefore, all of you come. But what am I for myself? In fact, that state of the Absolute is mine today, where there is neither being nor non-being. I have absolutely nothing to do with what this body is today. Whatever it has to give you is of no interest to me, so far as I am concerned. But I am in that state where beingness and non-beingness do not matter at all. You feel if I do this, I will get that. But when you understand the truth, you will realize that there is nothing. You are not. And so whatever you get, what does it matter? One has accused me of a very grave illness, but whatever is apprehended and whatever is seen is absolutely futile. I have therefore nothing to do with this. I show you this truth, but you cannot catch it. Nobody can. Today, Maharaj has been stressing more the non-being of even himself. So I am asking, while it is true that I amness or beingness might be a time-bound thing and the result of some kind of illusion, isn't there something more real and lasting prior to emergence of this I amness? Whatever it was, that I amness has become. Now whatever is left, that is the solid thing and is called Parabrahman. What was not, but still is. Swarta. Swa is self and artha is meaning, is a pun on the Marathi word, which means selfishness and also meaning of the self. So how did the selfishness come in? The swa-artha means I want something for myself. As soon as this consciousness comes on, all kinds of needs and wants start. Now before that, what was the position? Before this consciousness came in, I had no needs, no wants. I was whole, without any needs. The needs and wanting started only when this consciousness came upon me. Once I knew the meaning of the self, I realized there is no such thing as I, as an entity. Therefore, who is to want anything? It is only while I thought I was an entity because of this consciousness that I wanted something. My needs were there. Thus, the meaning is twofold. The first is wanting something, and the second, subsequently, is not wanting anything because there is no entity to want anything. What he is telling us is from his own intuitive experience. So what he says is the truth. But in the same breath, he is telling us that what he states about himself applies to every one of us. So if he says, as he often does, something has happened to me, or as far as I am concerned, he tries to keep us out, but at the same time is telling us that whatever his intuitive experience is, it can be the intuitive experience of every one of us. Can be. The potential. That is why we are here, and not with any philosophers. Talking about philosophers, all these philosophers, what are they doing? They are only acting philosophy. And all those concepts which are most dear to you are images of yourself. Your image of yourself is that concept which is dearest to you. To this gentleman next to me here, now he puts on these Buddha robes. What is this but a concept? There's nothing else there but concept. When you go to pictures, cinemas and dramas, what are you seeing? Are you seeing any original self anywhere? Acting, acting, acting. And it goes on endlessly, all playing their roles. Sometimes I am like this, the other time I am like that. And is any of it true? Nothing. That which has appeared unknowingly has been taking on an infinite number of roles on itself, and is moving about in the world like Brahman, Ishvara. But remember that this knowingness I am is not going to last. I keep asking you to do meditation. Why? Because then that knowledge which is consciousness will unfold to us the mystery of the infant Lord Krishna. And what is this mystery? That infant Lord Krishna is this consciousness which is manifesting itself in the millions of forms. And it will come to us, or the knowledge will unfold to us, the fact that that which assumes all these forms in the world is itself really formless, spaceless, timeless. That because of which the consciousness is able to assume these various forms is itself timeless, spaceless, without identity, unconditioned, and original. About the infant Lord Krishna, it will tell you how and why the infinite body came into being, how the consciousness came into being, the illusory nature of this body and the consciousness, and that the original state is timeless, formless, and that which has come about is merely an illusion. Once you realize the truth, that consciousness has come over you, you will need nothing anymore. Go back to your infant form in order to realize that that which assumes the multitude of forms in manifestation is itself absolutely without any form. Those amongst us who have heard this and taken it to heart will get to the bottom of the whole mystery.